Sounds like a... Okay. We'll let Wendy's. Thing on. Welcome, everyone, to the March 2025 Kitsap Regional Library Board meeting. I'm Eric Fong, President of the Kitsap Regional Library Board of Trustees. With me are Marwan Cameron and Eric Sisney. Gina Steiner and Monica Blackwood are out on excused absences. So I'll go to my turn to read the library mission statement, inspiring curiosity and connection. And I'll hand it to Jason for introductions.
Good evening, trustees, and we have an almost full house of leadership team members, starting with the Executive Assistant, Tammy Jeffries. We have the Director of Human Resources and DEI, Lucretia Robertson. We've also got the Executive Director of the Kitsap Regional Library Foundation, Wendy Kyle. We've got the Director of Strategy and Communications, Jeannie Allen, Deputy Director of Public Services, Shannon Peterson, and last but not least, Deputy Director, Chief Financial and Operating Officer Dan Baer, excused tonight as the Director of Facilities and IT, Mike Rose. And no special guest tonight.
Thank you, Jason. No additions or changes to the agenda, and there's nobody for public comment. So we'll go right into item 6, the consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion of the Board of Trustees with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired, items may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request. Items include the 6.01 minutes of the February 25th, 2025 regular board meeting, 6.02 minutes of the February 28th, 2025 special board meeting, 6.03 minutes of the March 7, 2025 board retreat meeting, 6.04 payment of February 2025 bills, and 6.05 surplus library materials withdrawn from the collection for February 2025. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
I so move.
Second?
A second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Motion passes. We will go to agenda item 7, presentations, reports, and briefings. Are there any library updates to share?
I attended staff day, and I want to say how well I thought that was put on, and the organizers did a really good job on that. And I got to talk to people that I don't normally talk to, and anyway, it's really good. I learned quite a bit too. So, and I also attended the board and leadership team retreat. That was mainly about the levy, but that's about all.
I too attended staff day. It was a wonderful event. I was just remarking on the undertaking that it takes to, close all the libraries and engage with the staff and give them that opportunity to come together. I made a post on Facebook about my experience there and talked about things that are coming up that can't be discussed right now. And the community is chomping at the bit to find out what's going on. So I can't wait to talk about it. So I'm super excited.
Thank you, gentlemen. I was also there very briefly for staff day. Unfortunately, didn't get to spend as much time as I would have liked, but I was very blown away by the organization, the presentation, all the activity. It seemed like staff was very engaged. So kudos to the team for putting together that staff day. Also attended the board retreat and also attended the Kitsap Regional Library Foundation board meeting where we welcomed 2 brand new board members. So very exciting that we continue to grow. So we will go to the 7.02 Finance Committee report update. Eric, do you have an update for us?
Well, it's brief. Our income is coming in on target, and expenses are under control, so everything is looking pretty good right now. So that's about it.
Great, thank you. And that leads us right into 7.03. Dan, financial report, do you have anything to add other than what you've provided for us?
Good evening. Nothing to highlight this month.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have any questions about the financial report? No questions? Okay, we'll go to 7.04. Jason, Library Director's report.
That was quick. Good evening again, trustees. So February, the library, both ends of February was plagued by weather stuff in the county. Weather conditions were pretty hairy with winds and snow and power outages. So we had a couple of closures, late openings for the library during the month of February, but nothing to hold the library back from its duty to provide services to the county. And I'm quite proud of our staff that are resilient enough to, including leadership, to just figure out different operational plans to be able to navigate during those times. And as you know, we prioritize staff and patron safety during weather emergencies. But since the library is a trusted, valuable resource as an open, available resource that serves as both a warming and cooling center, it is really incumbent upon us to make sure we can be available where it's safe and to have the ability to have folks come in and shelter in to be able to access the resources. So really proud of our staff. We also managed to, as you talked about, we spent most of the month preparing for the staff day that you experience. Really want to lift up the HR team and specifically the new training and learning specialist, Maurice Salanga, who was just came in and hit the ground running to help both plan and implement staff day. So really excited about that new staff member and their ability to be able to jump in, with both feet first and hit the ground running. Also happy to report IT and is now fully staffed. So throughout the month of February, we're able to add on a couple new staff members, and then now that team is full. And so that only bodes well for the organization in terms of being able to support all the things IT that need to be supported, including our upcoming transitions to Windows 11 and swapping out new computers and so forth and so on. In terms of strategic initiatives, leadership spent the time in February focusing on, really advancing our strategic priorities, whittling down our sort of top organizational goals that we're going after, and spent the time working with you all. Thank you, board and leadership for participating in the retreat that we had on March the 7th, where we talked about library future planning and talked about the library's future asks to the county in terms of a ballot measure. And then February 14th, we kicked off our 80-year anniversary passport program, complete with our commemorative library cards, and happy to say right now that program has been well received. Lots of activity in all our branches. I had the opportunity to witness some of it when I did a work day at Sylvan Way and Mobile Services on the 28th, and so it gave me the opportunity to see that program in action and see some of the reception that our staff are getting from patrons who are eagerly coming in to get their passport stamped. And then in terms of circ stats, saw a little bit of a dip in February in terms of physical and digital circulation, and just really want to interpret that for the board. That's, you have normal fluctuations in circ statistics, and for a lot of reasons. The aforementioned closures I talked about, holidays, There are lots of reasons why you might have a dip in circulation in terms of physical and digital, but wanting to give you sort of a view of what circulation, like what our platform looks like that we've invested in for Library IQ. So there's a really neat way to track statistical data around a great number of things, and I'll be highlighting those things in our board reports from here on out in order to give you an idea of the platform and its use. But some really neat things. We still have some of our staff, our core staff, that are going to be working with that platform, going through extended trainings, and we will continue to present different facets of it as we move through the year. And then strategic planning focus. We focused our strategic messaging around cultivating the idea of lifelong learning, our first priority, which is, fostering that love of reading and learning from early childhood. So, for us, it's still about always offering the programs, offering the resources that extend learning opportunities beyond the home, beyond the school. Obviously, the parents are the first teachers, but being able to have the library as a resource has really been impactful. And it goes without being said that people gain a lot from story times, but in my practice of every year at least doing a couple story times, what I've gotten from that is I see some of the same patrons in different locations, and they remember you from reading them the stories, and they often talk about how impactful it is. It's, as a matter of fact, when I worked in Sylvan Way on the 28th, I attended the Read to the Dog program, and I saw a couple of patrons who were also at our Halloween story time who had been there a couple of years and really just talked about how much fun both the not just the read aloud, it wasn't really about me necessarily, it was about the fact that we continually have opportunities for young children to be able to explore, to be able to learn, and not just through the shared practice of reading a story, but also from the practice of being able to have this opportunity to engage in experiential learning. And so, having said that, focusing on the different areas, priority areas each month really gives us an opportunity here to dig in with our staff too, to give them an idea of why we do the things we do and why these things have extended value for our patrons. And so as an organization, I think it goes without being said, we'll always focus on early learning. It's one of the bedrocks of what we do in libraries in general, and that's not to leave out any other intellectual groups, but that is really the bedrock for maintaining healthy communities, being able to make sure our children in the county and in our communities have an opportunity to be able to contribute to our economy by providing programming and really foundational programming. So looking ahead, we're committed to, our role as being, really cornerstones for our community, and that's evident in all the things we're doing, celebrating our 80th year anniversary. We have got a party on the 9th, May 9th, that is, and so we're busily prepping for that. Deputy Director Shannon Peters is in charge of the party, and I can't give you all the details, but it's going to be a fun celebration, and so we're busy putting that together. We're also busy preparing to celebrate our staff for Library Worker Appreciation Day, which we will observe, I believe, next week. And also, we are, again, the upcoming ballot measure, which I will not talk too much about now because we're going to talk about it, I think, next on the agenda. But, continuing to focus on igniting our collaborations and partnerships is important to expanding our operations and figuring out how we can continue to, foster a sense of belonging amongst our community. So that continues. We've always done that well. But, in terms of having a new strategic plan, it's really incumbent upon us to realign with some partners and figure out where we have the most synergy with our partners around our new strategic initiatives right now. And so that's all fine and well, and also prepping for public services is prepping for our system-wide support of major community events that we do every year, and so gathering volunteers of staff members who want to work those and help us be able to dig into the community. And in closing, I just want to, just reemphasize our mission. It is to inspire curiosity and connection, and I think that the library is doing that well in all facets. And I think from every department, I think we're seeing that folks are engaged and And, from an internal perspective, we can also imbue those values in our day-to-day work in terms of it's not just, for the patrons looking in, it's also for our staff to be able to remain curious. And we're seeing that as we're starting to get on the road and talk about our upcoming ballot measure, how folks can understand what's happening and why. Folks have remained not just curious for the mere notion of asking questions, but curious about how we as a library can continue to be impactful, not just to the, like we heard in one of our community meetings today, internal community meetings. Our staff really care about the entire community, and how can we best serve everybody in the way that is, honors them and is meaningful to them, and that they're able to have access. And that's a tough thing to do, but certainly it's one of the reasons why we are going to go out and levy, obviously to stabilize our finances, but most importantly, we do feel like that there's some tweaks we can make to be able to be more impactful to more people. And so having said that, I won't dig too much into that. Thank you for your continued support. Any questions? I am available to take them.
Great. Thank you, Jason. Any questions from the board? Thank you. Always appreciate your updates, Jason. We will go to, you mentioned a little bit earlier, we'll go into new business 8.01, draft resolution for proposed levy ballot. Jason and Jeannie.
Yes. So just to set it up, again, we talked in the retreat about, in terms of the library needing to stabilize its finances to be able to, we want to sustain as a library in this county for years to come. So I think it's very prescient that we would be doing an 80-year anniversary celebration this year that we had planned, and the fact that, we can review through the 80 years that we've been here, and we've been strong enough to be here as a library throughout changing times. This time is no different in that there are various challenges that affect our way of being, and I'm not here to talk about all of them. We know what they are, but there are various funding challenges, particularly for libraries, and for this library in particular. We want to make sure that we can still, with all of our people, all of the resources we still have, be able to serve a growing community, to be able to serve a community that has an increasing demand for digital resources, increasing demand for physical connection and meeting rooms, and to be able to do all the things that people rely on us for. So we think we've made good on our 2017 promises in terms of our last levy. That was 8 years ago. And we feel like the library is well positioned to continue to be that asset. And in terms of the ballot language, we've spent some time talking about that and coming up with ballot language that we thought would be best understood by our voters and best be able to communicate what that ask is. And so I'm going to turn it over to the Director of Strategy and Communications, Jeannie Allen, to talk about what that language is. And what we'd be asking for the board to do is review that and bring that back for a vote. And that vote could be either tonight or next month. But more specifically, we may have edits. We've run it through legal review, and we've gotten the recommended edits for that now. But I'm going to turn it over to Jeannie to finish talking about the ballot language.
Good evening. So what we have shared with you tonight is a draft of the resolution requesting, advising the board that it's time to put the library back on the ballot for a levy lid lift after 8 years sustaining under our last lid lift. This would raise our rate from 27 cents, which we're currently at, to 39 cents. And that has been the determination after many, many months of looking ahead at what we will need to sustain ourselves as an organization for the next 6 to 10 years, and also analyzing all of the goals that we've set forward with our strategic plan, which of course took us 2 years to put into place after a lot of work with our community and our staff to make sure that that really aligns with our community goals. So we feel really confident that this ask and what's outlined in this resolution really represents the best move forward for our organization and our community. And it also outlines how that's going to appear on the ballot. So this is the first read. We'll bring it back to you next month for passage, for any input that you have this month. That's what we're looking for today. Any questions?
Great. Thank you, Jeannie. I know that the staff has put in a lot of time and effort on this and a lot of considerations for, best value to the taxpayer and ensuring that the value and the outcomes are clear. So I know this is a long time coming. So thank you for all of your efforts. So as Jeannie said, this is the draft, and then hopefully with any feedback, comments, we'll have a final for passage at the next board meeting. In the meantime, does anybody have any questions about this draft? Okay. We got homework to do, and we'll come back next month. And that takes us to agenda item 9, housekeeping. Our next KRL board meeting is April 22nd, along with the Long Range Strategic Planning Committee and meeting. And with that, we are adjourned.